2017 has some times where there are quite a few retrograded planets. And that is actually a time where it's a time to maybe pull in your horns a little bit, slow down, take some time to look around at what's going on in your life and maybe make some course corrections. So this is a very powerful year this year for doing this because we have quite a few planets retrograded in a couple of months. So let's go through that and I will guide you through what's happening. So in January, Mercury was a retrograde at the beginning of the year, and now it goes direct on January 7th. So that means that, you can move ahead with your communication and, making new contracts and business plans. It's when Mercury goes direct, it's always a good thing. So in February, Jupiter goes retrograde on February 6th. Now, Jupiter is the planet of abundance, and it expands everything, and it's optimism and hope and good luck and all these really positive aspects. So when Jupiter goes retrograde, it kind of like puts the damper on things, and it causes you to take a look at what is bringing joy in your life. Where is your optimism? Where does it live in you? Does it affect you? I mean, do you feel lucky? It makes you, Jupiter, instead of, when it's direct, you're out there, you're doing things, you're just going like as fast as you can to do whatever you can do, because Jupiter it really is like expansive and let's do it all. Where when it goes retrograde, it kind of like says, okay, let's reevaluate everything that we're doing and make sure that when we go direct, that the projects you're going to work on are really worth being expansive and, moving ahead on in great enthusiasm. So in March, Venus goes retrograde. Now, Venus is the planet that's in relation to love and wealth and beauty and nature and earth and Mother Nature, and she's the goddess of abundance. And so when she goes retrograde, it's a time to think about what you feel about wealth. How do you feel about your relationship? Because Venus is also the goddess of love, the planet of love and relationships. So it's a time to take a look at, how are your relationships working out? Is there something you want to change? Is there what's important to you? Venus has to do with values and balance in your life. So can you balance your needs in the needs of a relationship? These are all things that Venus brings up when Venus goes retrograde. And of course, Jupiter is still retrograde during the month of March. In April, we have a lot of activity going on. Saturn goes retrograde, Mercury goes retrograde, Pluto goes retrograde, and Venus is retrograde until April 15th, and then Jupiter's retrograde. So April is a month that you might get hit pretty hard. It might be a time to kind of pull in your horns and reduce your activities and maybe even take a break, take a time out. Because you've got all this introspective sort of energy. Saturn wants you to go take a look at, are the projects you're working on and in the lessons you're learning, are you getting them yet? Or do you need another thump on the head to get them? Or how does the lessons need to be refitted so that you will get them? And Mercury has to do with, your communication and taking a look at what's meaningful as far as, your business and and what you're saying to people. And Pluto is your power. So in other words, instead of looking outside for your power or actually using your power in the external world, is taking and bringing your power and applying it to yourself and looking within and taking a look at how you are using power. It's a inner reflection. It's a time to go inside and become the observer and watch how you're handling things. And Venus is still retrograde until April 15th, and which then it'll go direct. And Jupiter is still retrograde. So we've got all these planets that at one point or another are retrograded in April. So April turns out to be a month that you really want to take some time out. You take some time for self-care, because it's all about you. It's all about things that you need to do for yourself. I mean, lessons that you need to learn, how to communicate better, not only with others, but communicate with yourself. In other words, it's like listening to yourself, listening to what you have, your inner self has to say to yourself, and listening to your body and listening to the messages around you instead of listening to the voices of other people. And the Pluto, it's about drawing on your own inner resources. And Venus is about finding the love within. And Jupiter is about finding your own abundance from within. So it's a time when the focus is very inward. So it's hard to conduct business, or it's hard to start something new when the focus is so inward. So May, Mercury goes direct. But we still have Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter that are still in retrograde. And June, Jupiter finally goes direct in June. So then all this integrating that you have done, and this introspecting on the latest and best ideas, you can start moving them out and sharing them with the world, and start taking action and saying, what you can do. Start enlisting people's help, but you're not through the gamut yet, because Neptune goes retrograde, and Neptune is going to make you really take a look at, are you being, are these things that you're chasing after, are they just illusions, or are they for real? And of course, Saturn is still retrograde, so it's going to, and that's asking you to get the lessons out of. Are you deluding yourself about things, or are you accessing your intuition in a real and viable way? And of course, Pluto is about your power again, using your own personal power. July things stay pretty neutral. Neptune, Saturn, and Pluto are retrograde. August, things change a little bit. At the beginning of August, Uranus, which is the planet of making huge, unpredictable changes, goes retrograde. And Mercury goes retrograde, Neptune's retrograde, Saturn's retrograde, and Pluto is retrograde. So here again, August is like April. It's one of those months that it's like there's a lot of inner work going on. Uranus is causing you to look inside and say, how can I benefit the world? What can I do? What is my strengths? What is my purpose? So that I can play a role in the world that will benefit everyone on into the future. So, and what traditions can I break to do that? So instead of looking out there and talking and seeing everything that's outside, this is where you go inside and look at your own beliefs and your own patterns and see what you can break. And Mercury goes retrograde on August 13th, and that's again about, your inner communication. What are you talking to yourself about? What are you listening to your own inner guidance? Are you listening to your body? Are you listening to the messages around you? Neptune's still retrograde, so we're still working with this whole thing about illusions and trusting your intuition. And Saturn is going to be retrograde until August 25th. So, it's all part of this theme. Saturn's helping you. This is the lesson plan for August, and Pluto is about your power. You're using your own inner power rather than, using other people's power or trying to have power over other people. September, things cool down a little bit. Mercury goes direct on September 5th, although Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, the three outer planets, which have the longest impact and the most profound impact on us, they are still at retrograde until Pluto stays retrograde until September 26th, which is most of September. October, things calm down a little bit. We still have got this dance going on with Uranus and Neptune about what can we do to create a new future that is a benefit for all. And Neptune is saying, well, can you trust and rely on spirit to co-create this new world? Or is that all just a big pipe dream? And so we've got this little dance going on, this inner dance. And November, Uranus is still net retrograde, but Neptune finally goes direct just before Thanksgiving on November 22nd. So we start to get out of that whole questioning, and we start to trust, and we start to trust that Spirit is actually our guide and gives us the correct information for whatever it is that we need to do. In December, Mercury goes retrograde in December 3rd and then turns around, and just before Christmas, it goes direct again. And so it'll make that an interesting time, for everyone getting ready for Christmas. And it's going to make communication with all the people that you're dealing with at that time. It's a time to really pay attention to how you're talking to people and how you're talking to yourself, and listen to what they're saying. How are you taking what people are saying to you? So it's a time to kind of evaluate your communication style, your communication, the things that you're communicating about. And when you get that all figured out, when Mercury goes direct, then you're all set for the holidays. And Uranus is going to help you bring on something totally untraditional for the holidays. So when planets go in the reverse direction and go retrograde, it's really a time to go within and take a deeper look, take a deeper look at our goals and challenges and our relationships and our finances and just our whole life. And so when you compare times, your charts to when the planets are going retrograde, notice what's happening during those times for you. What kind of situations are coming up? Are you going and taking time off and going within and just kind of reflecting on things going on in your life? Or are you out there struggling against something that you can't even see that's slowing you down? Trying to push ahead with some business when it's not the right time, or push ahead with some project when the planetary energies are asking you to stop and go within and reevaluate it. So take a notice too of, do you notice when the energies shift, when a planet moves retrograde or when they move direct? Do you notice that difference? Can you feel that? And that's something to develop a sense for, because it will make it a lot easier for you when you can feel what's coming, what is coming for you, what kind of energies are going to be dominant, and that way it makes it a lot easier for you to move forward in your life. So this is the summary of the different, This is a summary of the different gates and human design and the astrology planetary movements. And so what I have next for you is some messages from like the angels. I mean, and like an oracle message, kind of like a theme to help amplify or bring more clarity to you. And then also there are some little exercise videos that you can do, one on mindfulness and one on assertiveness. So I invite you to continue watching, and I will see you in the next one.